The Indiana fever overwhelmed the sky. Let's get into it. The fever played the sky. And yes, there were a couple of things that's happened. So let's set the backdrop. First, we know that there's like 5 players out on the Indiana Fever. We know that Caitlin Clark just announced that she is going to be out for the rest of the season. Some of us already knew that. Okay, so we know that Angel Reese was not in the game because she had recently in a game gotten her 8th technical, which means that she had gotten suspended for 1 game. And also, she's been doing a little bit of this regarding her team and the situation with all of that. And she's also going to miss half of the game in her next game that she's going to be a part of. So, okay, that's going on. And the Indiana Fever have lost 2 games, and they've also won every game thus far against the Sky in the series. So, what made this game that much more of a must? I'll say it in one word: playoffs. The playoffs. Now, if you watched my last video, I made a point to say that when teams are playing as if they're in the playoffs already before they get there and they're heading towards the final, their gameplay is different. They're playing with much more precision. They're playing with much more basketball IQ. They're playing because they don't want to lose and they want to make it to the final. And the game against the Sky, we saw the Indiana Fever step up to that place where they began to play like they were in the playoffs and they were heading towards the final. That was a game changer. They overwhelmed the Sky. Their defense was picked up. Their offense was picked up. They were actually communicating. That was increased. So they had no other thing could happen but to win the game. And they won it 97-77, 20-point difference. And so it takes that kind of mentality, that kind of just confidence to get out get out there and to win a game and to say, you know what, we're not going to lose. And that's what the Indiana Fever did. And they were on point. They were on point with their assisting. They were on point with their buckets. They were on both sides of the floor. They were on point. The only thing that, and I'll talk about this a little bit more, is they got to still be careful about fouling their opponents, sending their opponents to the free throw line. They got to be careful with that. And there's a way they can work on that they need to work on. But overall, it was a good game for the Indiana Fever, not so much for the Sky. Now, we know that the Sky are not in contention for a playoff berth, but the Indiana Fever, they are. And now, as we stand right now, because they won the game, if they win their next game, they will have a berth. If the Sparks lose their next game, they will have a playoff berth. Okay? So, one or the other. And there's only 2 more games left in the regular season. Will the Indiana Fever fight for it? I think so. I think so. Because there are a lot of naysayers out there that think that they're all washed up because hasn't been playing. But one of the things I want to reiterate is that even though Caitlin hasn't been playing, they have had some wins to get them where they are. Now, they haven't been consistently winning the way that the fans would like them to do, but they have gotten themselves in a place where they can possibly get to be in the playoff. And that's not an easy task. That's pretty good without Caitlin Clark. Okay. So they have a chance. Let's go over the quarter. Okay, in the first quarter, we have Indiana Fever with 31, and we have Chicago with 15. Now, that's the team that wants to be in a playoff. When they get out there and get their points, as many as they can that first quarter. And that's what the Indiana Fever did. They got buckets. They were shooting with precision. They were, watching the ball. They were not only watching the ball, but they were watching the players. They were communicating. All of that was like a well-oiled machine. They were right there doing what they needed to do on the court. Second quarter, 26 Chicago, 25 Indiana. So it was close, but they still did not overtake Indiana. Third quarter, 19 Chicago, 22 Indiana. Okay? What Indiana's doing is still adding points. And they're still doing a good job. Although in the third quarter, going into the fourth, they were a little messy in terms of fouling. Okay? A little messy with that. And they slowed down a little bit as well. Fourth quarter, 17 Chicago, 19 Indiana. That was more than enough for the Indiana Fever to win the game, 97-77. And so that's the pattern that the Indiana Fever has to play. They have to be able to rake in points very early on. It's almost like you want to rake in points to have like a little nest egg where you know that your points are so, there in that first half, that if something goes wrong or whatever in the second half, you can still win the game because the other team has not been doing what you've been doing. That makes sense? Like I said, this was their fifth game in the series with the Sky, and they've won all of the series. They sweep the whole series with the Sky. The Indiana Fever won every single game. All right, the Sky. The top scorers for the Sky was Michaela. She scored 18 points. Cardoso scored 18 points, and also Elizabeth Williams scored 13 points. So those are the top three scorers. Okay, and for the Fever, we have Kelsey Mitchell. Kelsey Mitchell has been truly carrying this team on her shoulders. She has gotten 20 points in the game, and she made 8 assists and 2 for 6 field goal. 2 for 6 3-point shots. So she was really an important part of this game, as well as Odyssey Sims, who scored 13 points. She had 4 assists. And Natasha Howard had 18 points, and she had 2 assists. Okay. And actually, from the bench, they did pretty good. We have Powers had 10 points. Shea Petty had 3. Michaela had 4 points. Turner had 2 points. And Dantes had 7 points. So that's pretty good off the bench. That's the kind of bench that they need. That's the kind of resources they need to be able to have on that bench. So when they're called, they can get the 5, the 10, the how many points they can get. Right? Make sense? And we know that Bree Hall didn't play because of a coach's decision. The largest lead in the game was 21 by the Fever and 2 for the Sky. Fouls. The Fever had 25 and the Sky had 19. Fast break points. Fever had 5 and the Sky had 2. Points in the paint. Points in the paint, Fever had 50, and the Sky had 36. Turnovers, 24 for the Sky and 10 for the Fever. So the Fever did better regarding turnovers, but we still want to bring that number down. Points conceded off turnovers, 28 for the Sky and 10 for the Fever. Now, they played at the Gamebridge Fieldhouse in Indianapolis, and the attendance was 16,012 people. Let me just say this. The Indiana Fever can definitely get into the playoffs if they win one more game or if the Sparks lose their game. Now, once they get there, in order for them to win it or to win those 3 games that they must play against their competitor, they must be on their job. It cannot be business as usual. Coach White's got to get it together. The players got to get it together, communicate. The roster's got to be tight, okay? Meaning that the rotations have to be tight. When people are hot, don't take them out of the game, Coach White. Don't do that. When people are not functioning well and they're just, not doing what they're supposed to do, take them out because they're just not doing what is needed at that time. And also, utilize the bench. Utilize the bench. Do not let the players get tired so that in the fourth quarter, Kelsey or Lexi or Boston are tired because they've been playing all the way through without much of a break. Please don't do that to them, Coach White. So if they play better and get more shots, make more buckets, have transitional buckets, be effective on both sides of the court. If their defense is up to par, if they increase that, especially with the teams that think they already know what the Indiana Fever is going to do, they got to change it up. They really got to change it up. Because if people are expecting them to do certain things and they do those certain things, they're going to lose. They got to spice it up. They got to do something out of the ordinary so that the teams will not know what's going to go on when they come on that court. Because right now, if they play against teams like Minnesota and the Dream or even the New York Liberty, they have played the Indiana Fever and have won against them. Indiana Fever have played against them and also won against them. This is why it's so crucial that the coaching staff come up with different schemes that have not been seen yet. And they trust the players to work out those schemes on the court. As a matter of fact, it's time to trust the players, period, because they know these other players. They know what they can do. Let them run with the ball for a minute. Rather than trying to control the players, don't do that. Let them be as skillful and as awesome as they can be on the court. That's definitely going to mix things up. Because I get the sense that with the Indiana Fever, the coach has been trying to hold on and control too much. And when she does that, it doesn't bode well for the Indiana Fever. So things that definitely have to shift and move in a different direction if the Indiana Fever really truly want to win the playoffs and then really truly want to be in the finals. They can get there, but it's really about them being consistent, perseverance, tenacity, grit, aggressiveness. It's about confidence in their shooting, in their abilities. It's about playing to their strengths. These things all matter because all these other teams that are into the top 4, this is what they do. If you've watched them, this is what they do. Okay, so you let me know in the comments what you think about where the Indiana Fever are. Will they win their next game against the Washington Mystics? Will they, get a berth in the playoff? Will they actually get into playoffs and win and get to the finals? What are your thoughts about that? What are your thoughts about the coaching so far? Let me know in the comments. My name is Barbara, around the WNBA and other sports. Hey, if you have an inclination to subscribe, here's your chance to do so. Just tap that button that says subscribe, and there you go. It's free. It's all free. And also give me a thumbs up because that helps me. And if you tap the bell, then you will be notified of new content. As always, go Fever. Until next time, peace and blessings.